Here's why real estate teams are ditching Meta for YouTube and getting more seller listings. Now, this is a beautiful illustration of that, courtesy of Nano Banana. First and foremost, Meta is becoming more competitive, more expensive, and less effective for sellers. Now, why is that? Well, there are, and you've probably seen if you're on Facebook, there are at least 20 plus agents and teams in your service area, sometimes a lot more depending on how dense your market is, running Facebook ads and essentially flooding that market, right? You see a lot of the free home evaluations, street by streets, all these, different kinds of picture ads and big headlines and grabbers. And the thing is that these kinds of ads worked before 2020, sometime in 2015, 2016. And I've actually personally spoken to a lot of agents and teams who ran ads during that time. They were really successful, right? Less agents running them, less competition, and a lot of these factors were actually not true, and they were the opposite, which is right now, cost per leads are going up, which means you're paying more for a name and a phone number. It's skewing, as a platform, Facebook is skewing way more towards the younger audience, which is great for first-time home buyers. If that's your goal, then awesome, but not great for mid to high-end market listings or getting downsizers, upsizers, relocators, that sort of thing. And in relation to that, it's a shorter attention span platform, right? People are just scrolling. Remember, Meta is owned by Facebook, and Meta is Facebook and Instagram. So shorter attention spans plus AI with all the content means there's less intent leads, and every single opportunity requires a lot more follow-ups. And the kicker is that generally there are smaller deals being created on Facebook and Instagram versus on YouTube. So keep that in mind. The other really important point when it comes to YouTube versus Meta is that Meta is way more of an interruption-based marketing versus search and intent-driven marketing, which is on YouTube. Now, just let me kind of explain what that means. Let's look at the YouTube ads journey, right? What does a typical potential client, customer, seller go through when they're on YouTube, and how are they getting fed advertising? Well, generally speaking, because YouTube is owned by Google, it almost always starts with a search, something like, or a thought, I should say, before that thought. I'd like to sell my home. Let me go in Google. So they're going to be searching things like, how much is my home worth? Realtor near me, real estate market, best renovations before selling, how to pick a realtor. Really a key one as well, should I sell my home this year? Especially because a lot of people last year weren't able to sell their home, and so they're actually reconsidering if even this year makes sense. Well, Google and YouTube, they take all that data. Google essentially buckets them into a category as homeowner thinking about selling. And then what YouTube does is they show relevant ads as you search and look for a video to watch. And so there's a really good two-player effect, so to speak, where Google is capturing all the data, creating a really amazing audience, and then YouTube is going to be showing that audience specific things, aka your advertisements, in front of their faces. And again, super intentful because they've already been searching for very relevant key terms. Now you might be asking, what's the Meta ads journey, the Facebook ads journey? It's similar, but a little bit different, right? The Meta ads journey is more of like, I'd like to sell my home, but I'm also just browsing. Let me go on Zillow, Realtor, and Redfin. So actually all these key terms are non-existent, right? So what happens is that Facebook buckets you as interested in real estate. This is really different than somebody who is a homeowner thinking about selling. This could be anybody who is just scrolling on Instagram or Facebook, looking up listings, looking up houses, watching content about that, and maybe not even being that curious, maybe not even being that serious about selling. Maybe it's a little bit curious at best and might not even be a homeowner at the worst. And so what happens is that for a user, Facebook will flood their feeds with ads as you are scrolling and not looking for specific content. And so again, with YouTube, it is way more of a search-driven platform where people are looking for things. They're searching for value and entertainment. Facebook is predominantly entertainment, and it's very unintentional because, again, they're just scrolling and seeing it come on their feed. So really the way that I like to describe it is that YouTube is the right person, right moment. Meta is the right person, but the wrong moment. And even I would say at best it's the right person, at worst it's the complete worst person. And so you don't get any of those benefits that you bring in with YouTube. And last but not least, really important for a team and a brokerage especially, is converting seller leads on YouTube is actually easier and faster than on Facebook. Reason why is because, almost counterintuitively so, but I'll explain. YouTube sellers jump through way more hoops to become leads, which makes them more trusting and more familiar with you. Because first and foremost, video drives two key results when done properly. It adds value and builds trust. And so when you look at how it works combined with having a high friction landing page, I'll come back to these numbers in a second, because the journey of somebody becoming a lead is way more intentful than somebody becoming a lead on Meta. On YouTube, somebody has to take real action. They have to watch a YouTube ad. It can be 1 minute plus. They got to go into a landing page. They got to navigate, fill in their details, and then they can expect a phone call. Versus with Meta, many teams brokerages report under 1% total conversion rates because it's a lot of fake phone numbers, fake emails. The big reason why is because there's an auto-populated lead form. It's too easy to become a lead. Somebody can become a lead on Facebook from scrolling, clicking, and immediately getting their information pulled in just about 5 seconds. Right? Again, with YouTube, it requires somebody to actually intentionally watch a video, invest their time and energy into putting in information manually, and then being in the privileged position of becoming a lead in your pipeline. Let that sink in for a second. How much investment does somebody bring to becoming a lead in your pipeline? The law of reciprocity is so real, and I guarantee you, if you were running Facebook ads for the longest time, you were probably getting a lot of people who are when you call them, they say, well, why are you calling me? I've never signed up for anything, or hey, I wasn't expecting a call. I'm not even a homeowner. I'm not even selling my house. Versus with YouTube, the chance of that is astronomically lower. And in fact, most of the time, especially from our experience when we partner up with top brokerages and teams, is that they're actually glad that we called and glad that we had that conversation. So just a couple of points there. Again, YouTube, more hoops to jump through. It's higher converting, it's higher friction, and it just makes things easier for you and your team. Now, if you are a team lead or a brokerage with at least 3+ agents on board, we'd love to help you out. Click the first link in the description, see if your market is available, and I'd love to chat with you about how we can help you scale going into spring and beyond. Take care. Bye-bye.